All right, y'all, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99 back with another video. All right, y'all, so I know y'all been waiting for this one. I've been meaning to kind of do a early look on this flyweight fight coming up. This is the big flyweight title fight that, I've been looking forward to. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of let things kind of calm down a little bit so I could just kind of get my thoughts together on how I think this fight will play out. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Valentina Shevchenko versus Manon Fiorot. Y'all pretty much know, and I know that this is the next title fight at flyweight. I think that even though without the call out, we already knew that, Valentina was going to be taking on Manon. And Manon, she's done everything. She's done everything to get here now. So she deserves the title shot. So, yeah, man, real quick, I just want to give my early look on this fight, how I think, certain things would play out. And what I really want to do is just kind of look at the strengths of both fighters and how they could take advantage of each other's weaknesses. And I'm going to give my honest take. I'm going to give my honest take on what I've seen from both fighters. And, kind of go from there. Not doing a prediction yet, but just how I think this fight will play out. And right now, I do feel like it is a 50-50 fight. After looking at Valentina's last 4 fights, I definitely got to say this is a 50-50 fight. And also looking at what Manon's been able to do and how she's been able to do it and some of the things that she's lacking, but still the things that she's bringing to the table, I think it kind of balances this fight out into another 50-50 fight for Valentina Shevchenko. Because like I said before, as the fighters that are coming up start to get better and they start to see more footage on Valentina and they just start to evolve and their confidence gets up there, I believe that eventually, it's going to start to shape out like that. Before, a lot of the girls were more so set in their ways, and I think a lot of them over-respected Valentina. They would come in already mentally beat. But when you look at fighters like Tyler, Grasso, Natalia Silva, Manon, Aaron, and now Rose on the come up as well. These fighters here, they're kind of next level. Like, they're all looking for that strap right now. So, I put Manon in that category, and that's what kind of helps balance this fight out to a, more 50-50 fight. I think that seeing what Valentina did and accomplished in her last fight, that kind of favors Manon in some ways. But real quick, looking at Valentina Shevchenko, I'm definitely not taking away anything from her. Valentina Shevchenko, she's come a long way. She's done so much for the game and WMMA, and she's accomplished so much. But at the same time, it also puts yourself out there to show your weaknesses, and as you get older, you can't help it. No, I'm not calling Valentina out her prime or like old, but let's be real, she is getting older and she is slowing down a little bit, right? She is slowing down a little bit. But with that being said, I still think that Valentina has a lot that she's bringing to the table to make this a tough fight. I mean, number one, when you look at her strength and her wrestling, I still think that Valentina is a very strong fighter, one of the strongest at flyweights. And she's seen strong fighters before. So with Manon just being big, I don't think that's going to be, a plus for Manon unless she knows how to use her own strength. And we've seen Valentina tame big fighters before. With Juliana Pena, she's gotten Amanda Nunes respect. She's picked up and taken down Holly Holm. Tyler Santos, she held her own in that fight in some periods. So when you look at Valentina's strength, I still think that that's something you got to, factor into this type of fight. She uses her strength in a technical manner too. She doesn't just use brute strength. She knows how to position herself to get a fighter down, get that element of surprise. And, her wrestling, throughout the years, her level of wrestling is something that saved her, even like in the Grasso fight. Again, if Manon is not on her game and not reading the body language and how she's feeling, she could go in there and get drowned too. That's what I'm saying. Like, Valentina's physical strength is still going to come into play, and it could still be something that could offset Manon's movement. But we all know what Manon is capable of as far as her physical strength. We've seen it in her fights. Next thing I would say is like the jab and the countering punching ability. I mean, come on, Valentina, like one of the best strikers at flyweight. Next to her and Alexa Grasso. I think Valentina's countering abilities. We've seen them. We've seen them in there with. We've seen her countering abilities against some of the top level strikers at the time. Holly Holm, she was able to time her and land some of the best shots to kind of get the respect from Holly. Lauren Murphy, she was out timing her and cracking her with shots. So the timing is almost the counter punching and counter striking is almost second nature there, and again, going back to Valentina Shevchenko, her jab, when she starts to step out of her comfort zone and use her jab, I think her jab is very snappy and quick, and it does damage. It sets up a lot of her other strikes as well. So, I think that going in there with somebody like Manon, Manon who hasn't necessarily fought some of the top level strikers like Amanda Nunes or Holly Holm, some of those type of strikers like that, I still feel like Valentina's going to come in with that edge. She's going to come in with that edge and that second nature ability where, she can just set the rhythm with her jab, just like she did against a solid boxer in Alexa Grasso. Valentina's jab was working well in that fight. She just got a little bit, I think, intimidated by the power of Alexa Grasso at times, so she didn't stick to the whole boxing game plan. So, those are a couple things I think, like the jabbing and countering would be effective against Manon, who hasn't been fully tested against, some of the best strikers. I mean, yeah, of course she's fought Chikagan and Rose, but, it hasn't been something she used constantly against world champions. Third, timing, the timing of Valentina. Timing is what got her the victory over girls like Juliana Pena and Holly Holm in different ways, reading the body language in the clinch with Pena to take her down, setting up the right hook against Holly Holm. So, somebody like Manon, if she comes in with a telegraph combination, throwing maybe the same combination and throwing it at the same speed, just darting straight in, Valentina, she could catch her with just two good shots to put her in respect mode, or, land two good shots to get a takedown whenever she's hurt, So timing is a big thing I'm looking at with Valentina that could offset Manon Fiorot here. Last but not least, man, this is a big one here. I'm going to be honest again, being truthful, body kicks and head kicks here. Valentina's got some of the best high kicks and body kicks out there. I mean, she was landing great body kicks on Alexa Grasso. Why she didn't stick to it, I don't know. I think Manon is wide open for body kicks. She has a long torso. You can be susceptible to body shots, whether it be punches or, body kicks, So body kicks are going to be a big thing here. I think body kicks from Valentina, they can be a problem for Manon. So Manon's defense is going to have to be tight. Again, the head kicks. Valentina, I don't know if she's going to be doing any of that fancy work in this type of fight. Maybe she learned her lesson from the Grasso fights. But if she's like dictating a outside striking match where, she's picking her ones and twos and just waiting, second after second, then that buys her time whenever she's all the way on the outside to land like a spinning back fist or a spinning head kick, like she did to Caitlin Chikagan, with the spinning back fist a few times. So if you're waiting on the outside for long periods of time, that's where you have Valentina, she'll kind of settle into that comfortable chess match where she's kind of calling the shots, and she can just do some fancy things to kind of end the fight or get your respect. So yeah, those are some of the things I see like Valentina's strengths could work into Manon's weaknesses. Like Manon with her defense, she dropping her hands and she's doing the pull straight back. She got to watch out for the head kick because she's been hit with head kicks before, against Aaron, Chikagan, Jennifer Maya, so that's something that they have to be looking at whenever they're dealing with an elite striker like Valentina, who's great at landing high kicks and head kicks and setting them up if you're giving her plenty of space. Now, if you're backing her up, that's different. But Valentina has, she has that timing and she has that reflex to just go pop, just like that once you create too much distance. So you have to close that distance and keep Valentina's feet offset. So, yeah, those are some of the things I would say for Valentina, like strength in wrestling, the jabbing and countering, timing, body kicks and head kicks. Those are things that she could take into this fight and, of course, win, because she's been there before. Experience overall. But much like Alexa Grasso, looking at Manon now, we can't count fighters like Manon Fiorot. We can't count out, I did the mistake of counting out Grasso. Some of y'all pick Grasso for good reason, but at the same time, some people didn't really just come straight out and tell me what it was that would offset her like I did with Santos and Manon. But some of y'all did, though. But I don't believe everybody just gave me this legit reason like on why Grasso would do it. Like Grasso's style is just a bad style matchup for Shevchenko. Because I honestly couldn't say that. I really couldn't say that. But with Manon and seeing what we've seen in this third Grasso fight, I think with what Manon has, Manon doesn't have to change a great deal. Manon could bring in her style, but just sprinkle on a couple of new things, kind of like Grasso did. Like Grasso still came in as a boxer, but she improved in her strength and her jiu-jitsu, that surprise element. That's how she dictated the pace with the boxing. So I think with Manon, same thing can be said with her. I think she needs to, make sure her boxing is tightened up, but she could still come in as a stand-up fighter. She just has to make sure that she's using all of her abilities to the best, but with that surprise element that Valentina won't expect. Like her size and durability. Manon is big for the division. She's big. I think she has good strike resistance. She can take a shot. So I think you have to kind of capitalize on that. I think Manon's got to be able to push back in this fight and put pressure on Valentina. Don't give Valentina the space to put a lot of weight on her shots. Use your size to back her up. That's what I wanted to see Manon do against Rose. Like, she could have stopped Rose in that fight. I'm still a little upset about that because I thought Manon could have finished her with some body shots, some good knees to the body, or just, ragdoll her or maybe mauled her and ground and pound her. But I think in this fight here, she's going to have to use her size and durability. Grasso used her strength against Valentina at periods against the cage, and it kind of wore Valentina down. But when Valentina got to the center and got the fight to the ground, that's where Valentina's wrestling came into play, and she could recover and just use that top control. So this fight, I think Manon's got to be the one to lead because her size and durability, I think, are real keys to victory here that could kind of intimidate Valentina and wear her down. Next, I would say combinations. I think Manon, she does throw combinations, not too many versatile combinations, but I think it's important, that she's kind of been sharpening up her boxing. Combinations would be important against Valentina, because once you throw that one and Valentina ducks it, she's coming back with a counter. But if you throw 1, 2, 3, you can catch Valentina, especially Manon in the southpaw stance. She's full-time southpaw. That style still kind of, I think, frustrates Valentina a little bit. So I think coming into this fight, taking that southpaw stance and sharpening up her boxing a little bit more could be effective with her being bigger as well. Because, if she puts more weight on her shot and that right hook, in a good combination, maybe throw that 1, 2, 3 in a southpaw stance, she could crack Valentina. She could crack Valentina, get Valentina's respect right away, or, even knock Valentina down. So I think combinations would be important against it in this type of fight. That's something that Valentina's not used to. Valentina's not really used to being hit with combinations like that because Grasso, how she threw that straight left hand and then came back at the right hand and caught her. Every time Valentina's fought in the past, these girls would just peck away and throw maybe 1 or 2 shots and then go right back to survival mode. But Grasso was letting her hands go. So I think, that's a weakness of Valentina there, not being used to combinations and still being able to be hit, like Valentina doesn't really move or hit a lot. Like, she uses her feet a lot to get out of the way of shots, but head movement are like a big thing for Valentina. So if you can time her and set those angles right, you can hit her with a good right hook at the end of a combination or straight left hand. So combinations, that's be important for Manon. I think her strength and takedown defense will be it's a big part of why she could win this fight. I think, physical strength, she's kind of like a bigger, pumped up Joanna for the division. You know what I mean? Like, Joanna was getting taken down by Valentina, but she popped right back up. So imagine Valentina trying to take down a big, strong Manon. And on top of that, what if she can't get her down? Like, her takedown defense is that good, like she's stuffing takedowns. She's timing Valentina. She's stuffing her like she did Rose and Aaron. And then she's kind of ragdoll, like pushing you back, like she did to Aaron a few times in that fight. When Aaron would step in the clinch, she'd push her back, or she'd, throw it to the side like she did to Rose. That wears fighters down, because even whenever Valentina started to become a little bit predictable in the Grasso fight, the first Grasso fight, you could see Valentina kind of wearing down in the 4th round. Like, her takedown started to become telegraphed, and Grasso just started stuffing him finally in that 4th round till she got the submission. It kind of frustrated Valentina. That's why Valentina tried to go for that quick spin finish move. She wanted to get Grasso out of there. So takedown defense is important here. It could frustrate and break down Valentina, and Manon has great takedown defense. So that's another key why I see this fight could possibly go Manon's way, because wearing Valentina down, and when Valentina kind of falls behind, it will frustrate her, till she tries to do something big, and that could leave her open for mistakes. Next, I'll say the improvements on her boxing, not just the combinations, but her boxing. I think the boxing that she's been working on and working behind the scenes now, and, really trying to become more flexible and, extend that jab out, that's going to be a problem for Valentina. Because, again, 3rd fight, we saw Valentina not really want to engage with Grasso in the stand-up. She landed a few good shots here and there, but we all know, come on. she owned the fight with wrestling because she didn't really want to get into it too many exchanges. So that's something that Manon they need to look at here. Manon, they need to say, okay, well, she doesn't want to box. We've been boxing for a while. We can work that into our karate and our regular stand-up. We need to start working on angles, start working on timing, slowly dragging the feet out so Valentina doesn't see what's coming next. Don't overextend. And, like I said before, just throw those nice sequences where Valentina gets a little, not flustered, but she doesn't see that 2-3 coming. And boom, they can catch her and they can get her off guard. So yeah, man, those are just some of the things I've been looking at from both sides. For Valentina, I think, she definitely has a lot of the strengths here. She has more tools and more experience. But with what Manon possesses and her natural abilities, they can come into play, same as how they did for Grasso, maybe even more so, because Manon has a lot going for her here that if she doesn't use a lot of it, it'll be disappointing and she could come up short here. I'm just being real. Like, if Manon tightens up on a few things like her combination punching, her boxing, and uses more of her strength in this fight, and defensive, uses her more so defensive grappling instead of offensive grappling, so she's not submitted, she could give Valentina some serious problems here in the takedown defense alone, So when you add that to the fact that Valentina doesn't really want to engage with some of these strikers now, she wants to take them down. But if she can't take somebody down with great takedown defense like Manon, it's going to balance out to be an even fight. It's going to balance out to an even fight. And I say that because, again, Manon, if she makes certain mistakes, Valentina could catch her. Or she could get back into her old rhythm of, the old days when she was picking Holly Holm up and just controlling again, So, yeah, it's going to be a good fight. I think it's going to be a good fight. I think at times there's going to be some elements of surprise, but overall it might be a chess match. I think it will be more exciting than the Grasso Shevchenko 3 fight, though. I don't think that Valentina is going to be able to just pin Manon down for periods of times in a round and just keep it there. I don't think so at all. I think that there's going to be periods where, Manon catches her and she catches Manon. But Manon's going to stuff a lot of these takedowns, kind of like Joanna did, but had more success because she's bigger. So right now, early look, I think it is a 50-50 fight. I just wanted to talk about it here because I know some people asked me about how I think the fight would go. I'm not sure yet. Just looking at some, past footage here and remembering certain things with these fighters, I got to be real. I think that with Valentina kind of on the downside, I think that Manon's team and, her IQ alone, she can make it a competitive fight. And, like I said, possibly win. But the Bullet has her chances as well. She's been around, right? But guys, let me know in the comment section what y'all think. I think it's going to be a good fight, good chess match. And we'll talk more when it's announced, of course. Make sure y'all subscribe, hit that like button. WMMA Talk. I'm out. Peace.